In this OnShape video, we're going to show you how to create this drawing with the laser box that you created previously. So unfortunately, we have to do things a little bit more manually this time, and that's because OnShape doesn't like making automatic 4-part drawings out of multi-body parts. So let's go back to our original demo piece. So here we are. We set up all of our laser joint fingers, so that's good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here to the plus symbol, and I'm going to click on it and choose Create Drawing. In this case, I'm going to use my RiverTech template that I created previously. And you'll notice I don't have the option to do 4 views. All right, that's because I don't have a part that's selected that allows me to make 4 views out of it easily. So I'm going to go to No Views and I'm going to click OK. This does give me a blank sheet with my border. So before I get started adding anything into here, I'm just going to close this and close this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to edit my title block. So you might recall that when we created this at the beginning of the year, we were in a different class. Okay, so I'm going to change this for production and fabrication class. And I'm going to change my text size so it fits. I'll change this to 144 thousandths or 0.144. And then down here, so I'll green check on that one. Down here, I'm going to edit the name of this. This is going to be laser box. And then I'm going to green check on that. So now I want to bring in my views. So if you come up here on the ribbon bar, you'll see where it says Insert View. So I'm going to go to Insert. And then what I'm looking for is I'm looking for Part Studios to pull from. And I'm going to go for my part that I created in the last demo, Part Studio 3. Okay, and you should see one that looks like your laser box. So go for that one. Okay, my scale, I'm going to set my scale 1:1 because this should be able to fit on here. Okay, and then I'm going to drop my first view. When I click down to drop my first view, it's going to automatically put me into what's called projection mode or projected view. All right, so if I move my mouse up, I can click down to drop my top view. Now, I'm still in this tool, but I haven't selected a view to project from. So I'm going to go back to my original front view, and then I'm going to go over to the right, and I'm going to project my right side view. I'm going to go back to my front view, and I'm going to go up and over, okay, to get my isometric view. And I'll click down to drop it. Now you'll notice my isometric view is hanging off into the boundary space, so that's not good. I do want to make a few modifications. But for right now, I'm done with this tool, so I'll click off it, or you can hit escape, or you can right click and stop using that tool. The nice thing about this setup is these views maintain their alignment because they were projected. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move this a little bit closer to this wall, all right, or to the side of my border. And that gives me some room to then tighten this up a little bit. All right, I usually like to have at least 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of space between any one of the views and the outer boundaries. All right, so that's kind of what I'm trying to do there. This one you'll see is a little tight, so we'll bring this one in a little bit. If I move this one up, notice how the parent view automatically adjusts to maintain alignment. If I move it down, okay, and then if I move this one in or out, okay, same thing. So now I want to add a few quick dimensions for this because we want to know the overall size. So I'm going to go to my dimension tool or a D key on the keyboard. And I'm going to start by selecting from here to here. And then I'm going to move my mouse up and in between the two parts to click to drop the dimension. I'm going to click on this and set up dual dimensioning. All right. You don't have to do dual dimensioning, but what I would say is change your units to millimeters at a minimum. Right? I like doing dual dimensions. So there we go. Click off. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing with my dimension tool from here to here. And once again, I'll go in and edit my dimension. So it's not letting me get to it. Oh, there it is. But if that happens, you can always double click on it. So if you're out of the dimension tool, you can come over and double click on a dimension and it'll bring up the same dialog. I'm going to set this for millimeters and we'll dual dimension. And there we go. Notice how it's overlapping over here, so that's not ideal. So we can grab this and we can bring it down here a little bit, make it a little easier to see. And now I'm going to go back to my dimension tool and I'm going to select from here to here. And then I notice how I get that guideline, that pink guideline comes up when I'm close enough to snap it in alignment with my other dimensions, which I want. All right, go in here, set this one for metric, and then set it for dual dimension. There we go. And the last thing I want to dimension is I want to dimension the thickness of the plywood that I'm using. So I'm going to use this segment right here. So from here to here, I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to set this for, I'm not going to dual dimension this one. This one I'm just going to set for millimeters. Okay. And click off. Notice how this one's crowding it a little bit. So I'm going to select this dimension. So I have to get out of the dimension tool. And then when I mouse over it, I could come click on this diamond here. That's going to flip my leader line, which allows me to move this dimension. So it's flipped out to the other side, but now it's overlapping over here. So I could grab it and I can move it down. All right, and put that underneath here like this. So you can see how I have this bent leader line. All right, if I want to flip it, I can flip it like that. Okay. But now I have everything dimensioned the way I want. I know my overall sizes and I know the thickness of the plywood that I'm using. All right, so go on, and then in the next video, we're going to show you how to do a quick layout. All right, so that way you can lay out all your parts and pieces for laser cutting.